Okay, the time is now 3:31. I call to order the meeting of the Ways and Means Committee. A copy of the agenda for this meeting may be found on the county website under the tab for the legislature. Please silence your phone and electronic devices. At this time, I would ask everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the roll.
Here.
Kenny?
Here.
Fabian?
Here.
Millar?
Present.
O'Donnell?
Here.
Duke?
Here.
Sabella?
Here.
And Ellis.
Here.
8-0.
Okay, first up, we have letter A1 from County Exec Newhouse, request, I see Deputy County Exec Forrest here.
Mr. Conley was on there as well. I'll be in charge of Commissioner Everett, who's doing the academic committee. See you.
Okay, we have a request to create a total of 35 student intern positions in the Department of Human Resources. Salary for such positions would range between the New York State minimum wage and the amount paid to the intern title under the CSEA contract salary schedule. The positions would then be assigned amongst the various departments and offices, just as the temporary and clerical positions are. As with temporary and clerical wages, hourly wage would be requested by the department office head and approved by the Commissioner of Human Resources. Request number 142.
Second.
Okay.
How you doing today?
Very well. How are you?
Good, good. Over the course of the last several months, there's been a lot of interest expressed by department heads to bring interns into our government in the summer. And the county executive will also believe it's a good opportunity for young people of the county to come and experience county government firsthand. In essence, the program would provide for up to 35 student intern positions. We had a survey done and there were 26 respondents from department heads and 9 said no, but together 17 said yes. And then of the 17, a few asked for a number of spots, came out to 29 spots. We're asking for 35 because it's still in flux. I didn't understand what that paragraph was about the salary. So I asked Tim and he told me it's $20.25.
Max.
And max.
Between minimum wage would be $15.50 up to $20.25, but primarily $15.50.
Right. So not to exceed that. And it'd be approximately 20 to 40 hours for each of the interns, no longer than 90 days, and with a price not to exceed $300,000.
Very good.
Excellent.
Anybody have any questions? Jamie?
I believe we've hired interns in the past. Is this in addition to that level of a program, or is this the total program?
We have some interns in different departments. For instance, planning department has 2 interns. One of them is paid by the Planning Federation. And there are others around. I know back in the last century, when I worked for Heimbach, we had 2 interns in our office every year for 10 years. So it's been a past practice, but this is more of a major program to support the whole idea of having interns in the county government.
Do you know how many interns we had last year?
No, I don't. Maybe Mike can remember.
Probably 5 or 6. How it works now is you've got them delineated by department in each budget. So like you'll see is somebody, I think Harry just said, the planning department has 2 in their budget. HR has none. So we've done it where each department has it delineated specifically by department. Here, we're just going to create 35 if you do so. They'll all be centered in HR, and then they'll be parceled out to the different departments based on need and interest.
Okay, thank you.
It'll be up to 35.
Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What was the reason that the 9 said no? They didn't have a reason to?
I don't really know why. I mean, to have an intern, actually, it's a lot of work. I mean, if you want to do it properly, there's a lot of attention and monitoring. Some departments can handle that, have an interest for it. Some departments have specific work that they want to achieve with an intern, and others don't.
You said $300,000 is the amount.
Not to exceed.
Let me just ask you something. In all these departments that said yes, I'm sure they have vacant or funded positions. Why aren't we using that one?
I don't know what it is until the end of the year, so it's hard to say that some may have it, some may not.
Well, we think with millions of dollars that we get back every year, there's probably plenty of money to do that.
No. I don't know what to tell you. I mean,
I
we
mean,
can't
you
do
should look into
something.
that, I think. I'm not gonna support this if I know there's vacant funded positions, but. you know,
Well,
you should
there
have-
are 300,
You already taxed everybody.
there's 300 vacancies right now, but we're still trying to fill those vacancies.
I know you are. I know you are.
Let's
Just-
clear. Move on.
I'm done.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So my question was more about, so the positions that we're gonna be trying to fill, are we, I love, for example, when we did the Department of Health, they were able to hire a lot of the people who were part of that program, and we're excited now that they're part of Orange County. When we're envisioning these 35 interns, I would imagine we're probably going to be, hopefully going to hire some of those. So are we targeting departments that have traditionally struggled with retention or struggling to fill positions? One of the things I think that would be wonderful is those individuals who work there, to get trained under us, then they can then hopefully work.
I think you're referring to the fellows program. Yeah, I think,
Well,
I
that's different.
know Lisa's here. Have we get the many of those, the fellows?
We have hired several of the fellows. We've had a good experience. Some of them have really taken to community health outreach and
Great work.
other work. Some of them have been able to use their experience to move up to a state position, interview for state positions. So as you know, the fellowship, this version of the fellowship was terminated early. It was supposed to end at the end of June. Next year, it's ending at the end of May this year. So we're working as hard as we can to assist those folks in finding new positions, either in the county or, as far as writing letters of recommendation. I believe that this internship program is mostly for high school and college.
Okay.
That's correct.
And our fellows are past,
Yeah.
are past.
Have a higher
I
skill
wouldn't
set.
be interested really in these internships.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Legislator O'Donnell?
Thank you, Chairman. So this will fund 35.
Up to, yes.
You get 50 applicants, you're gonna come back and ask for it?
Probably not. The time is very short right now. If I can wait another month, it's not gonna happen.
Okay, so if you get 35, then you get 26 departments, have some departments asked for 2?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chairman Hines?
Yeah, just to follow up to Minority Leader Paduk's question, you're not asking for money outside the existing budget. So I think the answer to his question is you are using money that's in the existing county budget. So in effect, you are using money that could be from those austerity positions.
That's exactly right. I mean,
That might change
Money
his
is there
mind
in
to
the
hear that
budget.
answer, because I think
we're
that's
not gonna spend it if we don't use it. I mean,
Right.
We may be able to absorb, some departments may be able to absorb the cost of these interns with their existing budget, but you can't buy, was it, Heimbach used to have an expression, you can't buy a $5 hat for $2. So,
Mr. Chairman, can I know, go ahead. Deb, could you just expound and listen to the chairman here?
Sure, sure. So basically, we do have a lot of vacancies and most of the departments can absorb the vacancies.
So they use that vacancy money. Okay, that's all I want to know. Thank you.
thank you, Debbie.
Okay, with that, I'll call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Carried. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, committee.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Let's go on to agenda item number 1. Dr. Roman, medical examiner and acting commissioner of health. She's not here, but I do see Lisa Lahif, deputy commissioner of health, and Gretchen Riordan, deputy commissioner of health. Okay, first up is a request to accept and appropriate funds from the New York State Department of Health for the Performance Incentive Initiative Award for the period of 1/1/25 to 12/31/2025, $16,200. Request number 090.
So moved.
Second.
Could you highlight that for us?
Sure. So this is a performance incentive that we received from New York State. The funds will be used to enhance our efforts to reduce chronic disease. We plan to put together some pamphlets that will be handed out at community events and contract with a vendor to assist with our community health assessment that's required by the state.
Very good. Any questions? I'll call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, agenda item number 2. Glenn Marchi, Commissioner and Chief Information Officer, Information Technology Services. We have a request supplemental appropriation to the capital projects budget for a new box truck for the Records Management Division of Information Technology. This was not in the 2025 capital plan. Upon approval, a new capital project will be created. $93,000, request number 096.
I'll make that motion.
Fagione, second.
I'll second.
Could you highlight that for us, please?
Oh, yes, sir. So this is a 1999 Chevy box truck, so it's 25 years old. It's definitely end of life. It's had some major safety issues, so the vehicle is grounded. The brake line has failed several times, which is a serious safety hazard. And the lift gate has failed numerous times, which also is a safety. So it's a safety hazard is the main reason we're looking for a replacement.
Any questions from the committee?
Mr. Chairman.
Dr. Luan?
Just for those who have not maybe been here as long, can you maybe talk about what the box truck is used for and?
Yes, of course. So the box truck is used by Records Management Services. So within the ITS department, we now own the records management. So all the records that have to be moved in boxes. These are 10-inch by 12-inch by 15-inch boxes. On average, we're moving 250 boxes per volley. So you need a vehicle, you need a capacity to hold that. That's what the box truck does. So they can safely load all these records, all of your records, all records for all the county departments. They get moved to storage. So that's the primary use of this truck.
Like we take them to Iron Mountain?
Yes, that'd be one of the locations we would transport those boxes to.
Okay.
How long have we been having these problems with this? We could have asked for it during budget time or?
Well, let me, the driver here is,
I no longer really drive it. I'm the records management officer now. My staff drive it, but, yeah, we could have, but there was a switch. Records management was under general services when general services was brought in with IT. Then when IT left, general services I wasn't moved right away. Maybe forgotten. I'm not really sure what happened. So it's in between those times over the last 5 years, the box truck has gone downhill. I could show you several emails suggesting the thought of proposing a new box truck, but under previous budgets, it wasn't brought forward by my previous commissioner under general services. So that's all I can go with on that. I'm very happy that Glenn Markey noticed that how much of an issue that we have there.
Legislator Cheney?
Is the quote that you have off of the state bid list?
Yes.
Okay. And what's the procurement process going to be? Is it just going to be accepted as a state bid list item, or is the county also going to try and procure it with a bid from other bidders?
We'll refer to budget.
General
services.
Yeah, I have the funding available.
Yeah, I'd have to ask General Services what their intent is for that.
Thank you. Can you get back on that?
Yes, we'll get back to you.
Okay, the quote you have in front of you is a piggyback bid from Onondaga County. So sometimes that's better than a state bid because it has all the same items that we're looking for.
Yeah, how many times do we use the box to travel different places? Roughly, once a week or?
Well, right now we're using a van that can supplement for it. But the box truck is driven every day to deliver records to different departments in this county. We pick up about 2,500 boxes per year from county departments. Our previous truck through DPW was also used by the sheriff's department in order to bring stuff for destruction to Dutchess because they need to bring it to a burn room, their uniforms, some of their records, things like that. Or other county departments who have needed it will move IT racks. Say we're moving it from Webster to E911, things like that. We'll use the box truck with the lift gate to bring and move racks. So during the year, it is used almost every day.
because I was wondering, you know, like Board of Elections has box trucks where they move machines around. They basically use that, you know, for a few weeks of the year. Can't we borrow the Board of Elections truck?
I think this truck has also helped out in that endeavor.
Yeah.
But this truck has been used for more than just records.
It was previously used by Board of Ed before they got their boxes. I'm actually the one who told them the specs to get their truck for their first box truck.
Okay.
Louise mentioned maybe they have two and we could end up with one, but they have found that they really need two during the year is when I last talked to her.
I will vouch that this truck is probably 10 years beyond needing replacement.
Wow, okay.
It's new.
Okay.
Okay, I'll call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, motion carried. Get in your truck.
Thank you, guys.
10 years later, we.
Legislator O'Donnell has a question about the phone.
Before you got a new location for it,
Well-
that's good, right? But it's going live right now.
Yes, it's going live. So we have the backup is live, Facebook Live to the Orange County Facebook page. And then we
I
also
don't
have,
mean that this is,
we made it in concert with the chair of.
It's a backup system because we were having issues with this.
yeah, I understand it's a
So that
backup,
way,
but
if this fails, this can be put over to YouTube, and Jordan has done that. So that the public can go to our site on YouTube and see the other film if this fails.
if it fails live, they can just switch over, so.
Right, we want to make sure.
Is there an announcement on what's being taped right now? If the government goes down, you can switch over to Facebook? Do people know that? I don't think so. Right, so you should put
But
something.
we replace it though. In other words, if you were to search it, at the end of the day, and this main system failed, Jordan puts this up, so everybody can watch it. Yeah.
Live. We should have something that you can switch over to Facebook if you lose your connection with this.
I think that the important thing is we needed to build redundancy. Now we have redundancy, so we have confidence that no matter what, if we lose some IT connectivity, we have backup. That's the most important thing that we wanted to solve. And I think we were successful.
Legislator Luma?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And it's just on a subject of a conversation we were having offline about, when we look at the amount of viewers on YouTube in comparison to Facebook, one of the interesting things is the amount of viewers that we're actually chiming into this current backup. And the possibility that this might actually be, we might want to keep the redundancy because of the amount of viewerships that we're getting. And one of the main things that I think we all strive for is letting people have more access to government rather than less. And so maintaining Facebook, even adding, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube might be in the best interest of transparency and good governance. So just wanted to add that was a conversation I just had offline. I think that the other legislators here would also be interested to know that the viewership was significantly higher on Facebook in comparison to YouTube, but sizably significantly higher.
But I don't believe there's any way they know how long those people stay.
That's true.
So you could have 100,000 hits and
But you can measure all
100,000
that.
seconds. So if that's measurable, it'd be interesting to see.
I actually, as you said this, I retract. You actually can, on the back end of certain ads, measure how long a person watches certain videos. Now, you'll be able to see how many seconds, how many minutes, but and you can at least you can see also how many people on YouTube. Right now, we're seeing 50 people viewing it versus here we're seeing 1,500. It's a massive difference. Now, are they watching the entire hour meeting? Maybe not. Maybe they care about one meeting more than they care about another, but what I like is seeing 1,000 people versus 50. It's just a big difference.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Markey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for your comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Next up, we'll go to number 3. Peter Sergliano, Commissioner, Department of Emergency Services, Vinnie Tancaselli, Deputy Commissioner, and Alan Mack, is he here too?
He's not.
Okay.
Hello, gentlemen, how are you?
So first up, we have a request supplemental appropriation to the capital projects budget for a new building, Orange County Fire Training and Rescue Garage at the Orange County Fire Training Center. Upon approval, a new capital project will be created. This was not included in the 2025 capital plan. $2,400,000 bonding, request number 120.
So moved.
Second. Move on to Duke. Can you highlight that for us, please?
Sure, good afternoon.
Obviously, this has been a project that has been in the works for several years. Our expensive equipment down at the Fire Training Center obviously needs to be housed indoors. I'll let Deputy Commissioner Tankaselli kind of expound on the particulars of that and why it's important, especially as it pertains to the tech rescue team.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Just a little quick background on the Orange County Technical Rescue Team. It's a team that's under the Division of Fire Services. This team is comprised of approximately 125 members from departments throughout Orange County, volunteer and career. They respond to the most complex rescue incidents in the county. So they respond to high-angle rescue, rope rescues, building collapse, confined space, trench rescue, and we recently expanded to water rescue. They respond to a lot of high-profile incidents, some in the recent past, Farmingdale bus accident. Pine Bush, we had a vehicle drive into the Dunkin' Donuts, the person trapped. They responded to that incident. These are the incidents they respond to that local fire department has exhausted their own resources and rely on our team for skills or equipment. The team itself has been 95% funded by grants. Since its inception in 2009, we've secured over 1.7 million in grant funding for the team. That's paid for pretty much all the equipment that we have, apparatus. We even had some donated by fire departments. Slade Hill Fire Department donated us an actual fire truck that we use. So a lot of the equipment has been grant funded. As Commissioner mentioned, throughout the years, the equipment we received, a lot of it, we've essentially run out of space at the training center. And the equipment right now, some of it is outside. If anyone knows anything about rope rescue, and I know the chairman knows very well about rope rescue equipment, it is very damaging to keep that out in the elements. That should be secured in a climate controlled area. So it shortens the lifespan, and it's something that we need to do to make sure our equipment is kept proper. The building we're looking to build is a pole barn type structure in the existing training center property. It's approximately 3 bays, 2 truck lengths deep. It also has some training components to it. There's a trench rescue simulator. It's essentially a concrete precast fab portion where our team can simulate trench rescues. Right now, to do that training, we literally have to dig a hole and create an unsafe environment to do that training. So this will allow us to do it in a safe manner. It also has anchor points so we can do rope rescue training and train on rope aspects as well. It'll have essentially 2 rooms. One is a small office and another storage area to storage equipment on shelves. And that's pretty much it. The project itself, just a little history on it. This started part of the 5-year plan that we developed back in 2018 for the Fire Training Center property. There was an initial capital project back then. We started the project, started working the plans. 2020, 21 came to COVID, we got put on hold. Plans got to 90%. We were then entering into the job project, which was the job ordering, contracting, bidding process. We almost got to the end of that, but then that process was terminated. And then we had to go back to essentially square one here. So that's why it's taken quite a number of years to get this to this point. At this point, we found, talking to finance and some of the other departments, it seemed a better approach to start a new capital project and go back to an old one that was likely discontinued during COVID. But that's pretty much the quick summary. I don't want to go through full detail, but try to give a quick summary on it.
Legislator Revella?
I'm just wondering why this wasn't included in the 2025 capital plan.
So again, we had thought that this was part of a previous capital project that was already existing, and then we found out through the basically bringing this forth that it made more sense to start a new one just for this project.
The funding is exhausted from the other project, the other capital plan.
That one is pretty much done. The radius.
It's not used, it wasn't used, it was closed out. The capital project was closed out, therefore we requested a new capital project to be opened. So when you come to the table to get requests for bonding, it doesn't mean, as you'll see later when we're at the table, that we will be using bonding to pay for the expenses. So initially, if it was never used, the funding was never paid for.
They never bonded.
Correct.
Thank you.
What was the initial request 4 years ago?
I apologize.
The original budget amount, this is back in 2018, part of the 5-year plan was about 800,000. We are looking at 2.4 based off our best estimates. Keep in mind, this is a bid project. It will be bid out, so it's really dependent on what the bids come back at. I will tell you, it's a no-frills building. There's actually not even a bathroom in it because we have an outdoor bathroom that's close enough. We're able to leverage. So it's pretty much a no-frills building.
You said it's 3 bays, 2 trucks deep?
Correct.
How many trucks do you have? How many vehicles do you?
So we have about 7 pieces of equipment that we will, like a collapse trailer. We have a new truck we received off a grant, tech rescue truck, UTV with trailer, a actual tractor for confined space rescue, the donated Slate Hill rescue truck, a rope trailer, and another pickup to tow our trailers. That's equipment.
So that's most everything?
That's most, we probably have 1 bay area space open right now, but that we're, future expansion for equipment to be placed.
Okay.
Any other questions by the committee? Legislator Bono?
So there's no bathroom in the $2.4 million building.
Okay. Then, yes.
We tried to keep the cost as low.
I get it, but this building is accessed in the middle of the night.
Yeah, it can be, yeah.
The bathroom's open in the middle of the night.
They are. So the way our training center property is, we have a couple existing garages for the hazmat team, and we leverage it. We have an outdoor.
I understand the leverage part, but you understand where I'm coming from. You've got somebody going there in the middle of the night, right, to get access in an emergency situation, right? Then all of a sudden, he or she has to go to the bathroom, and the outdoor bathroom's locked. That's a problem. Okay.
It's accessible by the team. The team members can access.
Well, how many people go? How many different trucks you gonna have in here?
Well, 6 basically.
6. Any of them, one person responds to get it, meet the team at the site?
They'll still be able to have access to inside the fire training center with a swipe card to get in, to use the bathroom.
That's a better answer. Thank you.
He does a great job. On the record, he does a great job.
Do my best.
As long as somebody has access, if they're showing up there in the middle of the night, that's fine. Still should be able to squeeze a bathroom into the building.
Any other questions from the committee? Now we'll call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you for
Thank
your
you,
hard work.
Commissioner.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Deputy. On to number 4, we have Alan Sorensen, Commissioner of Planning, and Stacy Butler, Deputy Commissioner, just Alan's here.
Just Alan today.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So we have a request to appropriate $4 million for open space as per project number 110 in the capital plan, request number 088.
So moved.
Second.
That was quick. Cheney, Luan? Can you highlight that for us, please?
Yeah, this is, as you recall, last year, the legislature authorized $1 million for the open space fund. We had series of applications that were funded through that. We had a September round, December round, and of the $1 million, we allocated or appropriated just shy of the $1 million for the for 4 projects. There's a balance of about 7,000 out of the 1 million. And there's a lot of interest in the program. In the 2025 capital plan, there's 4 million in there for the open space fund. But in order to use it, we need this request to appropriate 4 million for the open space.
Any questions from the committee?
Similar projects last year, how many
Yes.
have this year?
Oh,
I mean, are there any left over from last year?
there were 4 left over from last year.
That total was
Probably close to another $1 million in funding, and a number of those, we encourage them to reapply. So the next round, funding round, will be May 23rd of this year. There's a link on the planning department website. And we'll be doing just another email blast to municipalities and not-for-profits about the additional availability of funding for 2025.
Right, so if there's only 2 million, that's all you're gonna do. There's only 2 million in projects. Because we're appropriating it in the capital plan. So anyway, right, and more money. I mean, if you get 2,500,000, you're gonna come back and explain it to us, right?
If we're asking to appropriate the 4 million, because we don't know yet how many applications we'll receive. There'll be 2 rounds in 2025, so it'll be the May 23rd round, and there'll be another round in September. And I think, as the word has gotten out there that the availability of this funding, municipalities and not-for-profits have been very interested in the program. If we don't, if we go through the 2 funding rounds and there's money left over, we would just ask for, we won't be spending it, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I was very supportive of it with the 1 million. I'm very supportive of it now. Just for some of the legislators who recently joined us on the legislature, perhaps you can discuss what like the parameters are for them for their municipality to get funding, what the limitations of like how much a municipality might be able to do if there is one. Just some detail for others who just joined the legislature.
Thank you. Yes, it's a matching grant program. A municipality or not-for-profit can apply for up to 50% of the project cost. So we've had some applications that we're recommending to fund the full 50%. Other municipalities for the municipalities, it's typically acquisition of land to create a public park. Or acquisition of conservation easements to protect watershed land. With the public parks, typically what we're seeing is a request for the full 50%. With the watershed protection, the typical request there is for 25%, which is the local match, because New York State DEC has a water quality improvement program. They provide up to 75% of the cost to acquire an easement to protect water rights. So if what we've seen is successful municipalities that were successful in getting the water quality improvement program have requested 25%. So it's a good leverage for the county. So for every dollar that the county's putting in, it's getting $3 from the municipality. The other thing that the program is focused on is the acquisition or the purchase of development rights on active working farms. If you recall, the project that we funded in the first round was Morchesky Farm. That was a project that also secured funding through New York State Ag and Markets. They received 75% of the funding to purchase the development rights on that farm. And only requested 25% from the county. So again, a very good leverage from the county perspective. So if at a minimum if we funded the entire 4 million, at a minimum it would result in $8 million of investment on the municipal side. If it all went to like a purchase of development rights and we're only providing the 25% match, it could result in an investment of 16 million. So it's, I think a very good program, and we'll do our best to, get out there and promote it, and working with the review committee to, vet the applications and ensure that the program is achieving its objectives.
Mr. Chairman, just a follow-up question. Thank you, Commissioner. And then just a question, for example, let's say you have a park in the municipality that could use, it's fallen in disarray, needs certain, trees, added support. Is that something that municipalities could also seek these funds for if they were going to be willing to match?
program as it's currently written and approved by the legislature is just for the acquisition of parkland, so not for improvements to the parkland.
And if we wanted to revise that, that would be something that we could consider though. And
That would be up to the, legislature.
Any other questions?
Thank
None, I'll call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Okay, we'll move on to the next one. Letter I, letter 1, request that the Orange County Legislature hold a public hearing under New York State General Municipal Law 247 regarding the acquisition of 136 acres for the Gibraltar Rock Community Forest Project in the town of Warwick. Request number 100.
So moved.
second,
Get that changed, Ron? Could you highlight that first, please?
Yes, so this was an application, through the land trust. It's 136 acres. It'll become a forest preserve. It's in the vicinity of other lands that are, preserved, and it's, I think, going to be a very nice, acquisition and addition to the county's open space system. This is one of those examples where the request from the applicant is only for 25% of the project cost. The other funding has been obtained through another grant.
Any questions?
Just a point. So again, for everyone, this isn't land trust money. They don't spend their own money. It's a grant from the state for that 75%.
I'll call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay, we have number 2, we have a request to authorize the county attorney's office to begin negotiations and preparations of all documents that will be required for the acquisition of the 136 acres of land for the Gibraltar Rock Community Forest Project, stating the maximum cost thereof is $227,500, not to exceed 25% of the project cost, and the appropriating said amount through the 2024 Orange County Open Space Fund to pay the cost thereof. Request number 100.
So moved.
second,
I'll move on. Okay, Mr. Jones.
So for each of these, for the subletter II, there is a requirement that there'll be a contract that's entered into between the county attorney's office and the applicants. And this, the purpose of this resolution is to give the go-ahead for the county attorney's office to, once the funding is appropriated, to negotiate the details of the contract for the conservation easement, at which point, after all that, those details are worked out, we will be back before the legislature seeking their final approval.
Questions? It's a simple one. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Okay, we'll go on to I, request to authorize the county attorney's office to begin negotiations and preparations of all documents that will be required for the acquisition of 18.5 acres of land for a community park, stating the maximum cost thereof is $267,600, not to exceed 50% of the project cost, and appropriating said amount through the 2024 Orange County Open Space Fund to pay the cost thereof. Request 101. Skip one. Okay, we'll do 2 first, then we'll go back. It doesn't matter.
Same thing here, in this particular case.
Luhan and.
he's doing 2 first and then he's gonna go.
Yeah, we'll go back.
So then,
Okay.
Oh.
that was yours, right? Well, okay.
All right, so this property's, it's on the Shawangakil in the town of Wallkill. In the portion of the town of Wallkill that is near Mount Hope. And it's adjacent to a smaller town park, so they're requiring 18.5 acres around that town park to expand the park there. The town is taking 50% of the project cost, and the request is for $267,600.
Questions?
Thank you for the maps.
Oh, no, you're welcome.
Yeah, they're
I'm really
great
sorry, I
maps.
forgot those last time.
Oops. Okay, I'll call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Okay, now we'll go back to letter I, C1. Request that the Orange County Legislature hold a public hearing under New York State General Municipal Law 247 regarding the acquisition of 18.5 acres for a public park project in the town of Walk Hill. Request 101.
Second.
Kelly? Hi, Mr. Chairman. Just like the prior application, each of these requires a public hearing pursuant to General Municipal Law, Section 247. And the request is to set that public hearing for May.
Questions? Call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Okay. We'll go on to DI. Request that the Orange County Legislature hold a public hearing under New York State General Municipal Law 247 regarding the acquisition of 25.6 acres for public park project in the village of Woodbury. Request number 102. Making a motion, please.
So moved.
Gion? Commissioner?
Mr. Chairman, this is another property, 25.6 acres within the village of Woodbury. I did provide maps for reference for the legislature. It's a very nice property, purpose of which the village of Woodbury would like to use it for public park. And as you can imagine, it's not a lot of vacant land in that area, so it's a nice property, and they had a solid application. Their request is for slightly less than the 50%. I believe the request is closer to 40% for a match.
Questions?
Just a statement. So this piece of property, if you notice, it's across the street from the United States Military Academy, grounds up Smithfield Road.
Call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. We'll go on to II. Request to authorize the county attorney's office to begin negotiations and preparations of all documents that will be required for the acquisition of 25.6 acres of land for a community park and wells, and stating the maximum cost thereof is $225,000, not to exceed 50% of the project cost, and appropriating said amount through the 2024 Orange County Open Space Fund to pay the cost thereof. Request number 102.
So,
Fagion? Commissioner?
Mr. Chairman, again, in this case, each of these requires a contract between the County of Orange and the municipalities, and this resolution authorizes County Attorney's Office to begin those negotiations, to prepare all the documents. Once they're prepared, we will be coming back to the legislature with a legislative request to allow for the contract to proceed.
So this is a 50% funding, so who's going to fund the other 50% on this one?
It will be the village of Village. Yeah.
And all you need to do?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. You said that you can't do any improvements, it says for park and well. Okay, this isn't just acquisition of land, this is improvement as well. So why would they be entitled to it, no one else?
The reference to wells is they
Are they there already?
they cited in the application that the property may have the future potential to accommodate a well, but they're not seeking funding. They're seeking funding for the acquisition of the land.
Well, then why is that in here? So we're giving them approval for park and wells. That's what this resolution is doing.
Well, the contract between the county and the village, in accordance with the guidelines, can only allow for the money to be used for the acquisition of the property.
So can we strike wells from it? Make a motion that we strike wells from the resolution.
You could.
So down.
Can we let council, advise us quickly on
Yeah,
this?
just like to know.
If Commissioner Sorensen can correct me, I believe that language is taken from the application itself.
It is.
So
yeah.
to that extent, the contracts and the negotiations and the documentation would only be for the acquisition of the property.
So I think in the application, they just gave us a clarification of what they're gonna use the property for. They didn't have to do that.
That's correct. Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks for clarifying.
Legislator Cheney?
So in the process of moving this forward, the county attorney's office is going to draft an agreement between the county and the village.
Yes.
Are we gonna see that before it's signed? Does it come back here for our approval? Do you know?
My understanding is it does come back. We have to file a legislative request for the final deal to be executed.
So we will get one more bite of the apple, so to speak.
No,
You're approving the money today.
Yeah.
County exec
But
does
the
the contracts. not us.
Okay. I take,
They
okay,
negotiate.
stand corrected then. Okay, yeah, that's.
Any other questions? Comments?
just wanted to clarify, after the public hearing is completed, then it'll come back for a final approval. So this is just to, the first portion of the request is to set the public hearing, which is tentatively for May 21st. It also allows, in the interim, the county attorney's office to begin the negotiations and start the documentation work for the contract. Once the hearing is completed, there'll be another resolution that will come forward to finalize it. But the contract itself will not be coming to the legislature for any approval.
Thank you.
Legislator Cheney?
But by that coming back for approval of the legislature, not the contract, we could ask for a copy of the contract prior to us making a decision on that.
There's
Approval.
nothing barring us from, the legislature from requesting the contract. However, the contract is not approved by the legislature.
Correct.
Yes.
Thank you.
Sorry for that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
All right, next on the agenda, number 5, Eric Ananga, Commissioner, Department of Public Works, and Ryan McGuire, Deputy Commissioner, Engineering Division. And
Yeah, Ryan will be here today.
that'll be the first one. I do see Director of Warren County Airport. Okay. First up, we have request supplemental appropriation to the capital projects budget for the Orange County Airport sewer system installation. These additional funds are necessary to complete the project due to construction change orders as a result of unsuitable soils along the original Pike plan. The estimate is determined to be at a maximum cost of $50,000. This is not in the 2025 capital plan. Upon approval, the funds will increase existing capital project number 624, $50,000 bonding, request number 137. Motion, please.
I'll make that motion. Second.
Fagione. Commissioner?
Thank you. Over the airport, construction project, sewer, this is really a big part of getting rid of septic systems out there, the economic growth of the airport in the county. They had some really strange soils, had to change the course of the route of the sewer main. Thought we would have enough money in the end, but it's just tipped the scales a little bit. So basically to get the job closed out and everything, we needed additional funds, for the airport, and then that'll then relay into a water project that we're gonna have coming up as well, bidding up this year. Bringing in more hangars, potentially commercial investments into the airport as well. We have both centralized water and sewer at the airport. So big projects and getting them.
Questions from the committee? Mr. Grady, you want to add anything or?
Well, pretty much what the commissioner said,
we had a scenario where we did get some of the funds, we had to reroute the sewer line. And so we got some, in the rerouting with the additional engineering and some materials and so on, there was givebacks on the original contract, but then there were additions for the rerouting. So the net is this number, essentially 47.9, with some other minor incidentals is going to make it about 50. But the project overall is very successful, and it is, as the Commissioner said, one of the stepping stones to be able to get bigger investment into the airport, being the sewer, the water, and then once, maybe even before, once our hangars start to go up, there'll be a lot of interest. There's already interest, but there'll be a lot of interest once there's more jet activity at the airport. So these are all just investments into the airport to make it long-term self-sustaining.
Any questions from the committee? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed?
Thank you.
Go to 6, commissioners here. Okay, so we have a letter A, request supplemental appropriation to the capital projects budget in the amount of $1,500,000 for heavy equipment fleet replacement. The funding is from the State Consolidated Local Street and Highway Improvement Program, CHIPS, in the amount of $1 million, state funding. $500,000 is from county borrowing. This project has been approved under the 2025 capital plan as project number 52 under approval. A new capital project will be created, $500,000 bonding, request number 127.
So moved.
Second.
Lujan, Ravella. Commissioner?
Thank you. There should be a attached list. I think everybody received this. Also went through physical services last night. Asked there. Our typical ask, every year we come in for equipment for our highway, critical to keeping the roads, the conditions, in very good conditions the county roads are in. Now, you can see there's kind of a list of replacement vehicles in there as well, the ages of some of the equipment and vehicles, going back to some of the 1989, 1999. Some of the tandem plow trucks, skid steers, Bobcats going back to 2003, and then some passenger vehicles from 2015, 16, a couple from 2013, all with well over 100,000 miles, over 130,000 miles on all of them. And then you'll see an equipment list towards the second half of the sheet, which just breaks down essentially hydraulic thumb for excavators, hydraulic hammer for excavator, bucket for mini excavator, hydraulic mower head replacement, 1-ton slide sander, a heavy duty slide sander for plow truck, and then a miscellaneous item, because many of these pieces of equipment have little accessories that come with it, and as they break, we can fix them and replace them. So with that, I guess we can take any questions if you're.
Any questions from the committee? Looks like we're getting some new equipment. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay, letter B, request supplemental appropriation to the capital project budget for design of the Cornell Cooperative Extension property. This project has been approved under the 2025 capital plan as project number 61. Upon approval, a new capital project will be created. This is a seeker type 2 action, no further environmental review needed. $150,000 bonding, request number 128.
I'll make them. Second.
Did you get that? Baggio? Commissioner?
Okay, so the Cornell Cooperative Extension, this also went through physical services last night. As you know, they have a facility right now, the training facility is at 18 Seward Avenue in Middletown. There may be other things happening with that building eventually. They are on the 3rd floor there. They have there's mixed use in that building, probation and other services. They're looking to move that location to a piece of property, potentially build a building over there. This study would include the feasibility studies there, look at water and sewer and infrastructure, potentially getting into a little bit of preliminary design for a possible facility in that location.
I believe roughly a 16,000 square foot building is what they were looking at. The training rooms, office space, conference room, storage areas, research lab, restrooms, and some common space as well. Brian, can you give everybody an idea where that location is?
Yeah, so this is on Finchville Turnpike out in Mount Hope. It's adjacent to the elementary school out there, that area out there where the country fair is, the Otisville Country Fair takes place also.
Any questions from the committee? Legislator O'Donnell?
Much more for Lucy.
She's here.
She was here last night. Let me make sure.
She shows up if she's getting money. I appreciate that. So I know with the plans for the new building, you're gonna come back to us after this study, right? But I know there's federal grant money you're looking at, state grant money you're looking at, besides county taxpayer money, right? So is there any of that money can used? This is all us?
The design is all county money.
So there's no grants available? Did you ask or look into grants for the study?
Our original conversation with the county executive and staff were to look for funding, for a match. And at this point, the county executive is directing us and through DPW to come up with the design for the building and the infrastructure, as was stated. So we'll have to cross that bridge when we come up with the design.
So we didn't put in for any grants for the study.
Not for this, no.
Any other questions? Okay, call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, commissioners. Next up, number 7, Paul Arteta, Sheriff. Mr. Garcia, Under Sheriff. See the other two, more gold coming up.
Captain Moreno.
Captain Moreno? Okay. Letter A, we have a request supplemental appropriation of funds for the capital improvement project of facility door, gate security control systems, graphic panel system, which need to be replaced due to outdated software and end of useful life. This is proposed capital project number 114 in the 2025 capital plan. Upon approval, a new capital project will be created, $100,000 bonding. Request number 106. Second. Develop a new. Okay. Sure.
The doors are just wearing out and not functioning properly and have to be replaced. The software can't even be updated to work the doors.
Questions from the committee? All those in favor? Any opposed? Carried. Letter B, request supplemental appropriation of funds for the purchase of kitchen equipment. This is proposed capital project number 116 in the 2025 capital plan. Upon approval, a new capital project will be created, $200,000 bonding. Request number 108.
Move.
Second. Ravella, Fagione? Sure.
Kitchen equipment's, basically being used around the clock and it's just wear and tear on the equipment and it's failing, some of it.
Did you know what that includes? I didn't see there's just a list. Is on that.
That's gonna include large walk-in ovens, some smaller ovens, steamers.
Did you say walk-in ovens?
Yeah. We have tall racks and you load the racks up and you push them in.
Okay.
Yeah, you can fit in it. Well, maybe not you.
As long as I can fit, it's okay.
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay, we're going to letter C. Request supplemental appropriation of funds for the purchase of body cameras. This is proposed capital project number 117 in the 2025 capital plan. Upon approval, a new capital project will be created, $1,200,000 bonding. Request number 109.
So moved.
Luhan, Cheney?
Sure. We're looking out for the correctional officers with body cameras. And that's the cost. So it's a high cost for protecting the officers, the inmates, and, you know, the people in Orange County from a lot of lawsuits.
How about the storage that comes along with them?
I believe that's all included.
It's all in the program.
Delaney, what happened in Marcy, I think that's gonna be mandatory throughout state facilities and county facilities. They've had 2 separate homicides in 2 different facilities, and that's coming. And she's not gonna fund it.
So Luan first.
First off, I'm glad to see that we have, the last couple of years, we've gone a long way when it comes to the body cameras. And, it's great to see that now we're also going to corrections and I think probation as well. I think we have as well. Are we, after we do this, are we expecting that we're still missing other departments that could benefit from body cameras? Or we expect you guys to, what about replacements that, that they're breaking and so on? How are we doing on that?
We have the whole patrol side outfitted, and we had about 20 extras, and we use those for our emergency response team. So the members that actually go in and perform removing somebody from a cell, putting somebody back in a cell, or somebody that becomes violent. We've actually seen our use of forces go down since we've instituted body cams on just that small portion. But everybody will be outfitted throughout the whole agency, and we work good with the company, and if we have a broken one, to replace it.
So it's just a follow-up question, because I remember when this conversation first started, this is like now 6-7 years ago, I remember we started it. The body cameras, there was a difference between those that start automatically versus those that you have to press. For the ones that we're getting now, or the ones that we have now currently for you guys, are they automatic, or do you have to press them to start the camera?
You press them. They're on standby, so they'll record, I think, 30 seconds. And then they have to press them. Because it would just record all day, and it's like a lot of work for the people that are in charge of reviewing all that.
Just the battery life alone wouldn't last an 8-hour shift. You'd run out of battery life. You have to replace it. That'd be another expense.
And my last question actually was to the chairman's point about the data storage. I think we finalized a contract that kind of essentially worked that out. Do we have enough data storage for all the cameras? I mean, now that we have as our system, I know with everything with Discovery and having to censor large documents, are we good for what we need right now?
We have enough storage for the body cams that we have currently. This will cover the storage for the body cams that will be received.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
What might we do?
Yeah.
How many now?
Oh, on the patrol side?
I think we have about 108, I think.
I don't even remember. You get 400, so you have a replacement for everything that you have now?
No, we're gonna add an additional 400 because you have run 3 shifts. So when one's being used, the other one's being docked and recharged.
Right.
So they're constantly being turned over. So that's what you need.
So you don't have enough now?
No, no, sir. You just have enough for the emergency response team to use. So every use of force is now recorded by a camera, a body camera.
All the question? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Move on to letter D. Request supplemental appropriation of funds for the facility doors and gates access system replacement. This is proposed capital project number 118 in the 2025 capital plan. Upon approval, a new capital project will be created. 150,000 bonding, request number 110.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Fagione, Ravella.
The system we currently have has reached the end of its life. We can no longer program new swipe cards. So if somebody leaves, somebody gets their swipe card to use. We can't even identify who the person is because it's just reached the end of its life, the system that we currently have.
What's the difference between A and D then?
This is for the swipe system to open the doors. The key cards.
The other ones were the actual doors.
They don't come with the doors, actually.
No, it's a separate system because it's the computer stuff.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. On to letter E. Request supplemental appropriation of funds for the capital improvements of perimeter lighting. This is proposed capital project number 119 in the 2025 capital plan. Upon approval, a new capital project will be created. 100,000 bonding. Request number 111.
I'll make that motion. Second.
Ravella, Fagion?
Difficult to see at night around the facility. The lights need to be upgraded. You're looking at almost 30 years of lighting there that need to be upgraded.
Just, you know, if these are the night sky lights, doesn't do that light pollution, you know?
Migrating birds?
Not sure.
Just asking.
Any other questions?
Don't want to keep the prisoners up.
I mean, how many lights is that gonna entail? Because you have 300,000 for the next 4 years after that. So how many lights are you doing? Are you doing them all with 100,000? You're doing so many
Yes.
in specific areas?
Yeah, we're swapping every light out to the LED, so eventually cost effective. Going down in the future, less cost because you're just using less power.
So the 100,000 this year is just to replace the bulbs?
It's replace either the bulb or the fixture at the top of the pole, and then replace any poles that are just aged or weathered and.
All right, so in the next 4 years, at 300,000 apiece, what's gonna happen with them? You have an idea? I mean, you have it in the capital plan.
Yeah, every year we're gonna do so many lights as we can. I think the cost, we're estimating like
They're gonna
25,000.
go a little bit every year, they're gonna retrofit.
Okay, that was my question.
Yes, every year we'll do something.
There's some currently that are rusted at the bottom, so we're really focused on the ones that need to be replaced.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Okay, call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. We'll move on to letter F. Request supplemental appropriation of funds for the acquisition of industrial washers and dryers. This is proposed capital project number 120 in the 2025 capital plan. Upon completion, a new capital project will be created. 500,000 bonding, request number 112.
So moved.
Second. Benton Fagion.
Another end of life piece of equipment.
Seems like 20 years is the time, huh?
Yours lasts in your house, how long? You're doing pretty good now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the dryers, the current for the dryers, they was.
The dryer are 25 years ago. Washers were replaced about 15 years ago. 4 of the 6 are operational right now.
Any other questions? All those in favor? Any opposed? Carried. On to letter G. Request supplemental appropriation of funds for the acquisition of sub bay rooms for inmate use. This is proposed capital project number 121 in the 2025 capital plan. Upon approval, a new capital project will be created. 250,000 bonding, request number 113.
Second.
Luhan Paduk.
So
Captain?
the implementation of the whole act has created some issues. Basically, with the whole act, we're unable to separate some of the inmates. So for safety reasons, we're going to create a table each housing unit to create separation from some of those more dangerous inmates.
Any questions? Legislator O'Donnell?
How many?
The current projected one is we want to isolate about 6 to 8 cells within each housing unit. It's not going to create any kind of additional manpower because it'll be done within the unit, so that one officer that's currently in that housing unit will still be able to supervise all those inmates currently in there, but there'll be able to be a separation between them, so we can have them all. The whole act doesn't allow us to confine people for an extended period of time, so we have to let them out for extended periods throughout the day. So this is going to allow us to comply with the whole act while also keeping them safe.
So these will be out in the yard,
They're inside, no, inside of each pod.
and that counts for their 7 hours out of the cell?
Correct.
Even then,
They still have access to speak to their friends.
Correct, but they can't have
That-
physical
that-
contact.
is allowed by the law. That's pretty interesting. How much square feet are we talking about per unit?
It will vary depending on which unit they're in, because they are configured differently.
They'll have access to their cells, and they'll have access to certain amenities that are inside the unit. They just won't have access to other inmates in the unit.
Right, so we're gonna have to put the same amenities in sub areas.
So the amenities are already within, each housing unit has two televisions, two of each of the different amenities, so we're just gonna, leave one in each of those included areas. So that,
You're gonna divide it up.
right,
Right.
with what we currently have.
Some of that may have to get determined yet, because they can still see the TV, they can still see things from.
I want to make sure that they take care of it. Thank you.
Okay, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay, we're on to letter H. Request supplemental appropriation of funds for the acquisition of pole barn steel building to be used for storage of equipment and vehicles. This is proposed capital project number 124 in the 2025 capital plan. Upon approval, a new capital project will be created, $50,000 bonding. Request number 116.
So moved. Second.
Cheney, Ravella. Sure.
So we're looking at making a building on the property. Currently, we have about 6 or 7 trailers that house all of our UTVs and ATVs. And throughout the wintertime, we have to have deputies go out, take them off of the trailers, do a battery tender for a little while, put them back on. We don't have anywhere we can just store these and then plug them in so that we don't have to continuously move them on and off trailers. And a couple of the other vehicles that we have for SOG, we have in Sallyport. And they get in the way, especially during the wintertime when the DPW needs to put the snow plows and some of the other big trucks inside the Sallyport.
A lot less than Vinnie's building.
No kidding. You'll be undershot. Oh, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. $2.4 million for over at the fire training center. You guys
We don't need a bathroom. We don't have to wait inside.
Any other questions? Okay, I'll call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Move on to letter I. Request supplemental appropriation of funds for the acquisition of perimeter security cameras and checkpoint gate. This is proposed capital project number 125 in the 2025 capital plan. Upon approval, a new capital project will be created, $50,000 bonding. Request number 117.
Second.
Fagione, Cheney. Sure.
So this is interesting because just as we were leaving, a tractor trailer came up and went all the way around our jail. And if you've been up there, you see the big red signs that say you're not allowed to. We're looking at putting security gates in so that this can't happen. We have a lot of functions. Sometimes we do the victim impact panel. I think it's twice a month.
Yes.
Where we help out with the alcohol and substance abuse people that get DWIs. They come to our facility for this and they wind up driving around the jail sometimes around the backside. We can't have that because that's there's a few yards that they can have access to, throwing things in or having words with inmates. So we're looking to put the gates there to stop that.
Our trailer guy was just lost.
Yeah.
Very.
We have a perimeter car that does circle, but it's only one car. It circles the whole facility. So at least we had a gate there with some cameras.
Did you invite him to stay?
He might have been a former resident, but he has since left. But yeah, it makes it a lot easier for them to work that way and keep it secure.
Yes.
Legislator O'Donnell.
What is the gate gonna be?
So when you're pulling up, just before you get to the facility, there's a sign right there and on the backside.
Two.
Yeah, they're monitoring them with the cameras.
You guys will be monitoring from the side.
Right. Correct.
So you only got 50 grand this year, what are you gonna do, cameras first or? 50 grand.
The 50,000
gates
is-
and the cameras?
1,000 just for the gates. The cameras are part of another project.
So you got 300,000 next year, so I'm just wondering what the 50 is this year.
We're probably gonna use the 50 to do some designing too, and work with DPW to figure out the cost. This is gonna be gate cameras. So we'll probably use more of
That's
that.
the design.
Yeah. It's electric. Yeah, might probably have electric to the gates too, so if there's not electric, we'll probably we'll need to run that.
So you're not gonna do any of this till next year then, right? 'Cause you won't have the money, you won't have 300,000 till next year.
Just doing the design this year.
Okay.
Legislator O'Donnell?
So when you're entering and leaving, what happens when they're leaving?
No, they wouldn't be able to access that section. That's only for restricted personnel.
Talking about the fence between the solar panels and.
Correct.
Okay, I'll call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Sure, thank you. Next up, number 8, Paul Wiley, Director of Real Property Tax. Tricia Masterson, Assistant Director of Real Property. Have a request for approval to bid on the foreclosure auction of 128 Broadway, Section 30, Block 4, Lot 28 in the city of Newburgh. The property is also known as the Woolworth Building and is currently occupied by Orange County Office of Health and Department of Motor Vehicles. Request number 132.
So moved.
Legislator Lujan, Legislator Rebel. Director?
So this is a proposal to ask for your permission to allow us to bid on this property should it go to foreclosure auction, which we are anticipating may happen in the next few months.
City auction, correct?
No, actually, I'm sorry, it's a foreclosure by the bank.
Bank, okay.
I can explain the situation a little bit better.
Please.
This is the Woolworth Building, 132 to 128, depending on who you talk to, Broadway and Newburgh. It's the current home of our DMV and the Department of Health. Have been there for a number of years. This was a building that was back in the 90s, was renovated along with the Armory building in a rather complicated situation that the county was involved with. M&T Bank has wound up with what's left of the mortgage of the Broadway, the Woolworth building. The Newburgh City IDA has wound up with what's left of the ownership of the IDA, of the Armory building. They have recently tried to extricate those two buildings separately from all the agreements to allow this to be foreclosed upon by itself. We are the main tenant and the most likely potential purchaser of the building. M&T Bank, who holds the mortgage, would like to foreclose and then auction the property as they have to. And we would like to be allowed to bid on that, so we could acquire the property for our own uses.
Any other questions?
Okay. I just want to make sure this isn't a situation where you can just purchase through short sale instead of foreclosure. It has to go through foreclosure.
It appears it has to go through foreclosure. That's the bank's rules. Yeah.
I thought we were unhappy with the safety of the employees and the neighborhood.
I believe some people had complained about that in the past, although that situation has improved with the demolishing of some nearby buildings. And currently the employees in the health department are saying that it's fine. From what I should say, but the feedback that I've gotten recently is that they are okay with it. Happy.
Any other questions?
That answered my first question. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My second question was, so with us purchasing this, would we also be expecting to make some adjustments? I mean, whether that building is definitely could use a lot of improvements.
So the building could use some improvements, and that's actually one of the reasons why we would like to purchase it. It's not a building that's not in bad condition. It does need some work. However, the bank, M&T, has no interest in actually owning or doing anything with the building. They would like to just get rid of it. So if we don't acquire it, it could be that somebody else would acquire it, and then suddenly we're beholden to them. Right now, we're on a month-to-month basis. The lease ran out last year. And I think it would be better for the county if we could acquire this, that we could control our destiny as far as staying in this building, as opposed to losing it to somebody else who could suddenly then demand what they want with that.
Any other questions?
Also, somebody could outbid us and then raise our rent.
Yes.
So
and of course
we should be looking for something else as well.
Yes, we are basically constantly looking in the area to try to see if there are better locations for our apartments. Right now, purchasing this seems to be about the best situation that we could have. Having DMV in downtown Newburgh is good for downtown Newburgh. Not necessarily great for people who have to come from outside the area because it's not the most accessible by vehicle from outside of Newburgh. However, the Department of Health, having them in downtown Newburgh is a big boon to everybody involved, and having them right there means it's walkable to much of the population of the city of Newburgh. So it's actually a good location for the Department of Health.
Questions? Legislator Cheney.
Could you describe the process of determining how much our bid's going to be
Yes,
without getting into the
right, I mean.
the process, in other words, of who's going to be part of the evaluation and determining and how are we going to go about it?
Right, obviously, I'm involved, with this, our Department of Law has, been involved also. We do not have an appraisal of the property by the county in the last few years, although, there was an appraisal done 4 years ago, of this building. And so we have that. The bank has gotten its own appraisal that they've not quite shared with us yet, but, they have hinted at what their numbers are. So we kind of know where we are with what we, would be comfortable bidding on it.
Are we going to do any kind of an evaluation that would lead us to what the number will be to do whatever upgrades we feel are necessary after we acquire it?
I don't have those numbers. Scott's still here.
I was
We've been jumping in on.
asking,
Right.
we're gonna do an evaluation.
Right, so, the building again is not in, terrible condition. It does need some work, but, right now we can't, as being tenants that are on a month-to-month basis, we can't ask for anything from the bank, right? So
I understand that.
yeah.
I'm just saying, I would think it'd be prudent on our part to know what we're getting into relative to what needs to be done with that building once we acquire it.
Right, from what I was told by DPW, that, they are content with the condition of the building now and what needs to be done. I don't have those exact specifics of, what the dollars amounts would be for.
I don't want to know that. I'm just thinking that when we're preparing a bid,
Yeah.
Right.
those people who are involved in that process should know that.
Right, I will try and get the feedback from them, what their estimates are, what we would need, and factor that into what we would be, bidding.
Thank you.
Legislator O'Donnell first.
Just to back up what Legislator Cheney said, we should definitely have those numbers. Maybe not you specifically, but DPW should have those numbers and know exactly how much money we're gonna have to put into this building if we do a successful bid.
Correct.
Have we ever bid on an auction property as a county?
As far as I know, no, that's not how we normally do things. In fact, one of the reasons why we're going the route that we're going now has to do with the fact that the bank was proposing something else that we were just, not comfortable with, I should say. We would rather have it be that if they're going to get the property, or if we're going to get the property, we would rather have it as clean as possible. Having them foreclose on it severs, earlier liens that would be on the property, so that way we don't have to worry about that. They have been reluctant to do that until recently.
And what was our assessed value 4 years ago?
The appraised value?
Yeah.
1,250,000.
Is that lot still empty across the street from them?
Yes. Massive.
Legislator Lujan first.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just wanted to kind of echo Legislator Cheney and Legislator O'Donnell. Having those numbers would be definitely beneficial, I think, in the negotiation process. But also, over the years, I've heard from all departments that work there about the amount of investment that building needs from the front facade, from the inside. And so there's a lot of work that needs to be done there. And so, I think that even conservative numbers would put us at a sizable investment. We really want to use that building. It's a dated building, that Broadway is gradually seeing more businesses opening up. We want a space that looks more inviting. And that's, that we can be proud of for our county employees, for our county residents. So, I think that's worth having those numbers, because it's going to be a sizable investment if we want to do it right. And it sounds like we do, so.
Yes, are there any unpaid taxes on that property?
Well, as far as I know, everything's up to date as, for the tax.
So the banks, okay.
The bank is not showing us a copy of their appraisal that they had paid for?
They were willing to share it if we signed their NDA, and our law department is kind of balking at that because of their requirements, for an NDA. We're subject to FOIL. So, we can sign anything we want as far as an NDA, but if somebody asks for it, we're going to comply with the law.
And you can tell the age of the building just by simply calling it the Woolworth Building.
Chairman?
Obviously, you're an appraisal, you know the value, but I would suggest that if you were to evaluate the building where the County of Orange is not the tenant, it would be worth significantly less. Is that correct?
without getting too into it because of, legal and some other things, our rent is, arguably lower than market right now.
Okay.
And so it could be higher, which would mean the value could be higher, but we are the tenant, so it does complicate things. But yes, it would change it if we want.
If we were to lose out on the bid and we left, I think the value would be lower. Now, my next question is, don't we have vacant land in the Maple Building on the college property?
Land in the Maple property?
Space.
Space. All that space is basically accounted for and then some with the other departments we've been trying to get out of the armory. So we don't have available space.
So everything's full down there?
Yeah, or if not now, it will be soon. We've spoken for pretty much every square foot of that building.
I just thought maybe the Board of Health might be better to move down to there.
If there were space available, that would be a good spot for them, but there's not that additional, I believe it's about 9,000 square feet that we would need for help.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Just piggybacking off of that, the Armory building, so you had mentioned about the ownership of that. I've heard of different things about that whole, is that something you can talk to about just in like very brief?
A little bit. It's complicated, to the point that I don't have all of the details. What recently happened was, M&T finally filed the necessary documents to split ownership and separate some of the liens from the one building to the other. So now, that's one of the reasons why we're actually moving forward here, is that we have the Woolworth building is now separated from the complications that had happened with the two of the buildings when the deals had been done involving the county and Carchetta and RAC and the other groups that were involved. So now this separates out so that we can bid solely on just the Woolworth building.
And so who owns that building? The Armory?
The Armory, that's owned by the Newburgh IDA.
Okay. That's how I understood it as well.
Right. And there may still be complications and liens involving the ownership of that. I'm not sure. We have been trying to extricate ourselves out of the Armory for a number of reasons. And the last department that's in there at this point that we do not have a spot for will be probation. We're working on that.
So for our spaces in our offices, who do we pay? We're paying the Newburgh, you're paying the Newburgh IDA?
For the Armory building, yes.
Okay.
And right now we're paying M&T Bank for the Woolworth building.
And would you say that the rent is market rate in comparison, or?
So right now, the rent that we're paying in the Woolworth building is $12 per square foot. Other going rents for a lot of other spaces are a little bit higher, but also they're larger spaces that we're renting than a lot of other tenants are. So it's $12 is probably on the low end of market.
For the Armory?
Oh, for the Armory, that number is a little bit higher right now. That is has been ramping up, and yeah, we're trying to get out of there for a number of reasons. A lot of that has to do with the condition of the building. It needs major renovations that we cannot get into.
Oh, yeah.
And we would need to have basically everyone out of it for some period of time. So when we do extricate ourselves out of it, I imagine the city will be looking to renovate that for their uses.
That's what I heard. All right, thank you.
Anybody else? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, next up, we have Kerry Gallagher, Commissioner of Finance, Andrew Buchanan, Deputy Commissioner. We have Letter A, request to move funds in the amount of $4,966,779 from the general funds assigned fund balance to capital projects to reduce borrowing.
So move.
Request number 139. Ravella Lujan.
Thank you.
Again,
Highlight
good,
that first
yeah,
one.
good afternoon. So just like the resolution states, we have money that has been assigned for capital projects. So we're just here to request that assignment to be used to pay for the $4 million+.
Pretty precise number.
Yeah, we don't round as we do actual, so yes.
Any questions? All those in favor? Oh, Chairman?
So we're using surplus funds to pay down existing debt?
So we have an assignment of funds that we assigned for capital projects. So we bond after the fact. We haven't bonded for this. So we're using this money to pay for projects that have occurred in the past.
So we're using surplus funds to pay this, or?
Assigned surplus, yes.
Yeah, okay. So that puts us in a better position. This is not ARPA money though, right?
Correct, no.
Thank you.
All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. letter B, sales tax update, please.
Yeah, so Andrea noticed that these spreadsheets are kind of cut off, so probably if you let me pull it out.
Thank you.
Doesn't paint a better picture though.
Doesn't change.
Doesn't change the actual numbers. Again, so we are through the month of April. For the month of April, we are under plan by $4.8 million or 18%. And year to date, we are under plan by $5.4 million or roughly 9.54%. This is not the information that we'd like to project, but this is the actual numbers and that's what we report on.
The April payments reflect February activity primarily, so.
We believe, there's a lot of uncertainty right now, so we believe that it's going to continue for a little while to be under plan, but we hope that the boat will steer in the right direction, but I don't see that happening in the next month or two. Or, again, we'll come every month to report the actual numbers.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, have a nice afternoon.
You as well. Next up, we have Budget Director, Ted Kwasinski.
With me today.
Okay, if you can give us a little budget update, please.
Okay, sure. So obviously the taxation hasn't been posted. It will be posted back into January. Federal aid is negative 3.1 million. So in 2024, we had 3.1 million in DSS accounts for flexible fund and family services and services for recipients. Today, we have received nothing. And in 2023, we've only received $100,000 as of March also. So I just think we're not going to get that money at this point in time. Okay. Other revenues decreased by $6 million. Interest and earnings have gone down by 4.5 million. Sales tax in March was pretty much on point. But when I give you the April's update, it will be down based on their sales tax. The expenses, the contractuals have increased by 25.5 million. That is due to the accruals that have not been reversed. So mental health and DSS actually total 18 million alone for that. So that will be reversed also. Anything else?
Any more detailed questions? Comments? All easy this month.
Last month was a little. Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Thank you very
All
much.
right, thanks.
Get off easy because we trust it.
That will take a motion to adjourn.
Aye.
Aye.
In the wall. Traffic enforcement.